Yeah, awesome. Sorry, I was late. I was actually just getting off a call to talk about that event. So it's all good. I see John's driving around OZ sites, scoping everything out, making sure that the grounds are all prepared for our trip, right? So yeah, just a like kind of quick update. We're gonna do this info session next week to have a bunch of the presenters who are going to be present at our October event. Kind of introduce Rockport and why these markets are emerging as potential investment hotspots, especially for opportunity zones. And so I know Patrick is here, and we'll talk a little bit about that next week too. But kind of spinning off of the things that I've been hearing and that we're as a group. I think a lot of us are hearing this from different investors and developers all over the country, is that, you know, as the OZ, let's say like initial, the initial rollout of opportunity zones came through, the first markets were, you know, metro areas are more familiar to real estate developers. And so what's happening now is it's like, hey, where's the next places that we can make this work? And, you know, we obviously had our events in Puerto Rico. And when John reached out, we also had an event in Atlanta. But when John reached out for this place in Texas that he's, you know, doing some projects that I'd never heard of, I was really interested to start to highlight places like Rockport. And so the timing was perfect. And we're doing this as a I hesitate to call it due diligence. It's more of an introduction and a way to say, hey, you know, if you're an investor, there are places in this country that maybe you would never know about that are ripe for expansion and development and investment. And they happen to fall in these opportunity zone areas. And rather than go and look for them and have to build relationships, which takes a lot of time, which tends to be a turnoff for a lot of these investors, we're going to help do it. And through people and organizations like John's that have shown that they are truly ready, in that the resources are intact, the markets are primed for growth, in some cases already growing, in most cases already growing, and that, you know, there's a working knowledge from governments, the government, to support opportunity zones, that all the language is in place. And, you know, for us, it's a matter of just opening visibility to a national audience and to you all. So it's been awesome to see how many places are starting to reach out and say like, hey, I think we're ready too, you know? So John, I appreciate you and kind of putting it out there to say, hey, I think we want to do something, and I think we're ready to attract some attention here, because it helps everyone in this whole industry, you know, to be able to see what's possible. So I don't know, John, are you on site now? Is that what's going on here?
I'm actually on the highway. I was trying to reverse the camera so you could see the sign, the billboard type sign we have up promoting the conference. So I'm gonna turn my camera around, see if it's visible.
I can see something in the distance. I can't say that I can make out what that is. But I did see your picture earlier in the week of you, and it's a sign promoting the event, right? Like a billboard on the highway promoting the event.
Exactly, and getting a lot of interest, people seeing the sign. It's a pretty high, it's the highway that runs along the coastline, so it's pretty high traffic counts. And yeah, it's promoting the conference in October.
Well, and I can hear the traffic. I just heard 10 new registrants drive by. They were texting on their phone and signing up as they're going by. I can tell. It's very cool, John. If you have that photo posted on the platform, I think it would be really cool, because you're like standing in front of it, like you really went for it and made a billboard. I think that's amazing. So
the property is in a coastal town 3 blocks from the bay, our first development site, one of the 3 to be on the bus tour here in Aransas County. Anxious to see how that goes next week, and all your efforts with Opportunity Zone Works. OZworks Group has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really amazing, to see. We've been sending out emails through a bunch of different collaborators on this. And right now, I think we've got 40 people registered for this info session, which again is an introduction. If you can't make it that day, that's okay. We're going to record all the content so you can go back and hear about on what we're doing in October. So I would encourage anybody also to, if you live in a community where you think that education around opportunity zones, it's ready for investment is needed, reach out to us, because this is part of what we're building to help spread the word. So it's awesome, John. I mean, well done. I'm pumped to come down there. Obviously, I've never been to Rockport, but before last year, I'd never been to Puerto Rico either, and I almost bought a place down there a few weeks ago. So you just never know what's possible, right? Yeah, Emily, I don't want to take up too much time. I know that you wanted to slate it out, and it's exciting though. And the event is on the 18th. It's at 10:30 Eastern time. It'll go for an hour, and we've got 5 presenters that will talk about, why Rockport is important to them, what the markets look like, and just get everybody introduced to what we're going to be doing.